If you're over 60 and believe that not having sex anymore is natural, be careful. Because that natural idea might be quietly stripping away the last part of you that still feels like a man. I've spoken with hundreds of men between the ages of 60 and 85. They didn't come to me because they stopped loving their wives. They came because they no longer felt worthy of being loved. And it all started the moment they stopped doing what they'd done for most of their lives. They stopped having sex. They stopped touching. They stopped wanting. And they believed that was just what happens at their age. But it's not that simple. Stopping sex doesn't just drop your testosterone. It affects your memory, your blood circulation, your nervous system, even your emotional connection with the person sleeping beside you. The problem isn't how often. The real danger is letting your desire die, just because of a number on your ID. Many men start dying slowly, the moment they stop doing the one thing that still makes them feel like a man. This video won't teach you bedroom tricks. I'm not selling pills. And I won't preach morality. I'm simply here to tell you what most doctors forget, or are too afraid to say. Sex is a signal of survival for men over 60. And if you lose it for too long, what you lose next isn't just function. It's yourself. If you're still listening, it means you haven't given up. So leave a comment honestly. Do you still feel desire? And hit subscribe. Because what I'm about to share might just change the way you see yourself after 60. Testosterone drops sharply when sex stops, and the effects go far beyond the bedroom. Here's something most men over 60 never realize. Testosterone, the hormone that defines manhood, doesn't just drop with age. It drops faster when you stop having sex for a long time. I once treated a 68-year-old man. Healthy. No major health conditions. But he came in feeling exhausted, struggling with sleep, and completely disinterested in intimacy. When I checked his hormone levels, his testosterone had crashed far below the normal range for his age. There was no major disease, no emotional trauma, just one detail in his story. He hadn't been sexually active in nearly 10 months. And he's not alone. A study in European urology found that men who stopped sexual activity for more than 6 months experienced twice the rate of testosterone decline, compared to those who maintain intimacy at least once or twice a month. But testosterone isn't just about sex. It plays a role in sleep quality, mood and self-confidence, muscle strength and bone density, fat and sugar metabolism, and even how quickly you recover from illness. Without testosterone, you don't just feel tired. You feel smaller, not in size but in spirit. Like a dimmer switch slowly fading out the man you used to be. When testosterone quietly disappears, the man slowly disappears with it. You might be thinking, at my age, does sex even matter anymore? But that's like someone who used to run every morning, suddenly stopping for a year. Then wondering why their legs feel weak and their lungs can't keep up. Your manhood needs maintenance just like your heart or your muscles. And sex, even in small, simple forms, is a way to keep that system alive. Even if full intercourse isn't possible. Physical closeness, warm touch, emotional connection. They all signal your body to keep making testosterone. Because testosterone isn't made in a factory. It's made when your body believes you're still living, still loving, still willing to be a man. That's why I say this to every man who walks into my clinic. Don't let your hormones leave you, just because you stopped reaching for the one who loves you. When the brain forgets how to respond to intimacy, the risk of losing desire for good. There's something more frightening than not being able to have sex. It's no longer wanting to. And that doesn't start in your body. It starts in your brain. Sexual desire, your libido, doesn't live in your genitals. It lives in your brain. In your prefrontal cortex and emotional processing centers. And just like any brain function, if you don't use it often, your brain starts to forget. I once treated a 73-year-old retired professor. He had lived alone for years. He didn't come to me for erectile dysfunction or low testosterone. He came because of something that scared him deeply. He said, I don't feel desire anymore. It's like my mind no longer thinks about sex. And that terrifies me. We ran every test. Physically he was doing fine. But during neurobehavioral evaluation, I saw something alarming. The parts of his brain responsible for sexual imagination and emotional arousal were almost dormant. He wasn't sick, but his brain had learned one thing over time. Sex isn't necessary anymore, let's turn it off. And that's serious, because when the brain begins shutting down those emotional and sexual circuits, the body follows. Testosterone production slows. Blood flow decreases. And the signals that keep your manhood alive start to fade. The result? No desire. No arousal. No feeling of aliveness in your sexual being. Once your brain forgets how to love, your body forgets how to live. You might think, just thinking about sex now and then is enough. But it's not. The brain needs regular reminders to keep those circuits working. Like memory or muscle, sexual response must be reinforced. That doesn't mean you have to think about sex every day. But you should allow yourself to feel. Watch a romantic film. Hold your partner a little longer than usual. Let yourself enjoy simple moments of closeness, even just a soft touch on someone's hand. Because those small acts send a signal to your brain. I still want connection. I'm still alive. And when your brain gets that message, it keeps those pathways alive, like a small fire waiting to be stirred. Desire doesn't disappear. It just falls asleep inside those who forget to wake it up. Blood circulation and heart health. Less sex means blood stops going where it should. May sound simple, but for a man to get an erection, blood needs to be sent to the right place, at the right time, in the right amount. This isn't magic. It's a finely tuned hydraulic system. And any disruption, like stopping sexual activity for too long, has serious consequences. Let me explain it simply. Every time you feel aroused and get an erection, your heart pumps blood through small arteries into your genitals. That process isn't just for sex. It's a natural vascular workout. It keeps your blood vessels elastic, prevents hardening, and protects the internal tissues of your penis from shrinking or scarring. But when you go without sexual activity for too long, that flow stops. The blood isn't being sent there. And just like a road no one drives on, it narrows, stiffens, and slowly shuts down. The result? Poor blood circulation to the penis, weaker erections, numbness or lack of sensation, and a higher risk of corporal fibrosis, a condition that permanently damages your ability to get firm erections. The penis doesn't stop working because it's weak. It stops because blood no longer knows the way. I once treated a 70-year-old man. He had a great sex life for decades. Then, after heart surgery and a year of recovery, he stopped intimacy altogether. When he finally tried again, he realized he couldn't get hard, even though he still wanted to. We did a Doppler ultrasound of his penile blood vessels. Blood flow was down by 40%. No disease. No hormonal issue. Just one reason. He hadn't used it for too long, and the blood stopped coming. That's why many cardiologists now recommend sex as a light but effective form of cardiovascular exercise, especially for seniors. It helps the heart pump, expands small blood vessels, and keeps the entire system active. And if you're thinking, is it too late for me? The answer is no. But you have to start small. Not by rushing into sex, but by slowly retraining your body to call the blood again. Emotional arousal. Gentle massage of the pelvic area. Circulation boosting exercises like walking or Kegels. No river keeps flowing if the riverbed is forgotten. Start again with just a single drop. The psychological impact. Shame, distance, and hidden depression. Many people believe that as men get older, losing desire is just part of aging. And stopping sex? Nothing to worry about. But they forget something crucial. Sex isn't just physical. It's the last thread that binds together emotion, self-worth, and connection. I've met countless men over 65 who came to see me, not because of erectile problems, but because of a quiet sadness. They lost interest in life. They no longer felt important. They woke up with no reason to get out of bed. One man told me, "I live next to my wife, but it feels like we're strangers." I asked, "When was the last time you were intimate with her?" He went silent. For a long time. You see, when a man goes without sex for too long, he's not just stopping a physical act. He's slowly stopping the affirmation. I still matter to the person I love. And that eats away at his confidence, little by little. Many men cover this up with silence, with phrases like, "At this age, desire doesn't matter." But inside, there's a deep loneliness, a kind that comes from not being touched, in body or in spirit. They start to avoid their wives. The wives don't know how to reach back. And so, connection begins to crack, without a word. No sex won't kill you, but it can kill the last bond between you and the person beside you. Medically, sex releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. When sex disappears, oxytocin levels drop, and that brings a feeling of emptiness, disconnection, and emotional numbness. A study from Coventry University in the UK found couples over 60 who stay sexually active, even just once or twice a month, report nearly 30% higher levels of happiness and emotional well-being, compared to those who stopped intimacy. They're less anxious, less irritable, more connected, and less alone. I remember one 74-year-old man who said something I still think about. "You know, doctor, sometimes I don't need much. Just her arms around me. Just her hand on my back, and I feel alive again." The longer you wait, the wider the distance grows. The wife begins to wonder, does he not love me anymore? The husband hides in silence. I'm not worthy of touching her. And before you know it, neither one can save the other. Sex at this stage isn't just about passion. It's a ritual, a way of saying, we still need each other. So if it's been a long time since you've touched your wife, don't let shame destroy something far more valuable than sex. Your connection. Some husbands live their whole lives next to their wives, but never touch her heart again, after they stop touching her hands. Permanent loss of sexual function, if you wait too long. Here's something no one warns most men about. If you stop having sex for too long, there may come a time when you simply can't go back. Even if you still have desire. Even if your hormones are still working. Because this isn't just about hormones. It's about your biology, erectile tissue, and nerve response. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it because I've seen it too many times. A 66-year-old man came to me once. No major health issues. Still felt desire. Still loved his wife. But after nearly 2 years without intimacy, he tried to reconnect, and realized his erection just wasn't there anymore. Not fully. Not like before. We ran the test. Testosterone, normal. Heart, healthy. Mental state, stable. But during the ultrasound I saw something critical. His erectile tissue, the corpus cavernosum, had begun to scar. What does that mean? It means the soft, spongy tissue that once filled with blood and created firmness, was now becoming fibrotic, turning stiff like scar tissue. Like a balloon left in a drawer for too long. Dry. Rigid. No elasticity. So when the blood arrived, there was no space to expand. Some things don't die because they're attacked. They die because they're forgotten for too long. And here's the hard part. Once erectile tissue becomes fibrotic, it's extremely hard to reverse. Pills, foods, hormones, they might help a little, but they won't restore what's already stiffened and shut down. Unlike muscles, which you can rebuild over time, your manhood needs regular activity to stay alive. Even once a month, but consistent, like a rechargeable battery. You don't need to charge it daily, but leave it empty for too long, and it may never power up again. Here's the truth I tell every patient. If you still can Don't wait until you have to ask your body for permission to feel alive again. And why do I say that? Because that man came back 6 months later. He had tried everything: therapy, medication, stimulation. The results? Slight improvement. But not full recovery. And what he said still echoes in my mind. I should have done something sooner. I thought I had more time. If you're wondering, so what should I do now? The answer is, start again with connection. Not full intercourse. Just reawakening the reflex. Hold your wife. Massage your lower abdomen. Let yourself feel affection. Care for your pelvic area as part of your overall health. Because you're not taking care of your penis just for sex. You're doing it to preserve the part of you that still feels alive. Sexual function doesn't vanish all at once. It fades, with every day you turn your back on it. Recommended frequency for men over 60, backed by medical research. One of the questions I've heard most in my 30 years of practice is, at my age, how often should I be doing it? And I always respond with a smile before I say, there's no magic number, but there is a rhythm your body needs. That's right. No one's asking you to have sex once a week or 3 times a month. Because every man is different. Different relationships. Different health conditions. Different energy. But science shows this. There is a minimum frequency that helps your body maintain its sexual, emotional, and neurological balance. According to the Journal of Gerontology, 2020, men over 60 who had sex at least once or twice a month showed higher average testosterone, lower rates of depression, better erectile response when needed, longer retention of sensitivity in the pelvic area. The key isn't quantity, it's consistency. Men over 60 are like engines that run slower, but they still need to be started regularly so they don't rust. Sex after 60 doesn't need to be frequent. It just needs to happen at the right moment to remind you you're still alive. And that right moment isn't just when you feel turned on. It's when you want to connect, when you want to feel, when you want to remember who you still are. I once spoke to a couple, 69 and 72 years old. They didn't come in for performance problems. They just wanted help finding a better rhythm. I asked them why, after so many years together, they still cared so much about sex. The wife looked at me and said something I've never forgotten. Because every time he touches me, I know I still matter. And the husband added, every time I'm close to her, I remember I'm still a man. That's the most beautiful rhythm. Not scheduled by the clock, but guided by the heart. As long as you don't let the heart go silent for too long. If health problems make sex harder, start with the little things. A longer hug, a gentle massage, a knowing glance, holding hands before sleep. These are all forms of intimacy. Just different shapes of the same rhythm. They start with the heart before they reach the body. Desire doesn't need to be loud or frequent. It just needs not to drown in silence. Final message, to every man over 60 watching this. I don't know where you are in life as you watch this. Maybe you're still sharing love with your partner. Or maybe that part of you has been quiet for a long time. But if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. Desire isn't just for the young. It's the fire that keeps your body, your heart, and your manhood from fading. Whether you're still active, or it's been months, maybe even years, the number doesn't matter. What matters is this. Do you still remember who you are when you reach for the one you love? Sex after 60 doesn't need passion or perfection. It needs presence. A hug. A look. A breath of gratitude for still being close to someone, and for still being touched in return. After 30 years in this profession, I've learned something. The saddest thing isn't losing sexual function. It's losing connection. With your partner. And with yourself. If it's been a long time since you've been intimate, don't feel ashamed. Don't feel broken. If you're willing to start again, even with the gentlest touch, your body will respond. And your heart will thank you. Old age doesn't kill a man. Surrender does. If this video touched something inside you, leave a comment. I'll read every word, like a friend your age would. And if you want me to keep sharing the things most doctors never say, hit subscribe. Because I believe this. We're never too old to start living again, the right way.